I'm Bullet, and you're watching the final episode of my Making an Edit series. This episode will be about how I do my sound effects and visual effects. Personally, I do these last two things at the very end. When it comes to actual effects, most of the time they're spontaneous, but sometimes I already have an idea in my head before I even get to After Effects. In this edit, I won't really have any since I want to keep this short and nothing interesting comes to mind for this clip I'm using anyway. It's very important for the look of the edit to match the song. In my edit, I'm using a lo-fi song, which is why I'm going for a warm, grainy type of color correction. I could also do a 4:3 ratio to make it feel even more old school or VHS, but I kept my usual aspect ratio for this one because I felt like it. Next thing is I add a layer on top of the entire edit for the flicker. This is something I've been doing recently, but I feel like it just adds more to the edit. Set it to soft light so it doesn't cover up the edit and turn the opacity down. Sometimes I also add a black and white tint to hide the colors of the layer and leave the CC unaffected. Like I said, I don't have any particular effects for this edit, but if you want to see some, you can look at some of my other edits. Most of the time I work with masking or green screens to make the effects I want. Some editors who are way better than me also make some crazy effects like in 3D stuff, but I never really got into 3D. For sound effects, I have two things to add. The sort of whoosh noise that I put on almost every transition to give it more volume, I guess. I don't know, it's just another layer of sound in the edit that makes it feel better in my opinion. It's important to match it with the song. You need to avoid making it too loud because that would only distract from the edit and the song. When it comes to Paragon, the way I get the gameplay sound effects like shots or hits is by going into a solo v AI match. I use the abilities I need and then I go in the replay so I can slow down and isolate the sound I want. Once I record that, I put the sound in Audacity to reduce the noise to isolate the sound effect I want to use even more. Once that's done, I just put everything as an After Effects by aligning it with the gameplay, put it on my sync points and everything. And it's also good to do more with sound effects instead of just dropping it in there without making any modifications. In this case, I put a low pass filter on the sounds to make it fit with the song even better. If I had a lo-fi song with high quality sound effects, it wouldn't fit well. One final thing I did to add a little more spice to the edit was not only gameplay sounds, but I took a few voice lines from Sparrow and put them in the edit. And that's pretty much it. Like I was saying, this is going to be a short episode compared to the other ones. After all that's done, I play back my edit a few hundred times until I'm satisfied enough with it, or I make some last minute changes if ever I need to. As for this edit, I'll be uploading the final result as a separate video, so you'll get to see how all of this meshes together and makes an edit.